Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bet Show. My name is Ethan Kershaw, and today we have an awesome two-game slate on DraftKings talking about some MLS Soccer. But before we jump on into the video, please make sure to drop a like on this video and then also subscribe to Mayo Media Network. We're here right now going to be talking about football or soccer, but head on over to Mayo Media Network, check out some awesome content for NFL football that Pat and the team are pumping out. Got some really good stuff over there to help you out with your daily fantasy questions and your season-long fantasy questions as well. Also, be sure to subscribe to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets, the Mix podcast, wherever you get your pods from. And then be sure to leave a 5-star review. And then last but not least, head on over to Twitter, follow me at Ethan Kershaw9, where I'll be helping you out with any of your DFS soccer questions, any news updates, anything you need. I'm here for you. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and look at this slate. And we got a real small one, like I said, two-game slate on DraftKings this week. Not a lot of players to talk about, but there are some good players that are pretty cheaply priced this week that we're able to find as values. The games we've got are going to be FC Dallas against Real Salt Lake, my team. And then we've also got Inter Miami versus FC Cincinnati. So let's go ahead and look at the top of the slate. We're going to talk about Jesus Ferreira at 10.1K for FC Dallas, my favorite player on this slate, and, well, unfortunately he is the most expensive player on the slate as well, but for good reason. He's on set pieces, he's on corners, and he's taking penalties for FC Dallas. He's going to be a very important player in this one, especially with no Ricardo Pepi in this game. Pepi has been called up to the national team for international duty over these next couple games, so he will not be with the team for this one. Just makes Jesus Ferreira all that much more important. Played at a center attacking midfield position last game, but I think that Dallas is going to push him up into more of a true striker or forward position in this game, and that will really benefit his game. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist over the last 2 games, and in those games, he has averaged 26 fantasy points with a total of 8 shots, 6 shots assisted, and 5 crosses. The guy really does it all on the offensive end, and 10.1K price is pretty expensive, but definitely warranted. Definitely a guy that you can put in your lineups this week and not be disappointed. Got a really safe floor as well, so I really like Jesus Ferreira at 10.1K. All right, let's go ahead and look now at Gonzalo Higuain at 8.5K. Yes, I know, I love Gonzalo Higuain pretty much every single week. But really, this week a little more than usual. They're playing against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati have been absolutely hemorrhaging goals lately. Cincinnati has actually allowed a total of 7 goals over their last 2 games. It's quite a bit, and Inter Miami themselves have done pretty well on offense, scoring 6 goals over the last 3 games. But Higuain himself has a total of 3 assists and 11 shots over the last 3 games, been very effective, productive. Last game, if you played fantasy with him, he didn't get you the result you necessarily wanted, so about a 2-point output, and he'll come up with those every now and then. So it's definitely a little bit of a risky play, but I think that he's definitely going to return value for you in this one against Cincinnati, who are much weaker opponents in this one. Even though Inter Miami is on the road, I really like Gonzalo Higuain here at 8.5K. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the value forward play. This one might come as a little bit of a shocker, but we're going to talk about Anderson Julio for Real Salt Lake at 5.7K. Now, I love Anderson Julio, everything he does on the offensive end for Real Salt Lake, but here are some reasons why you should take him in your daily fantasy lineup this week. First of all, no Justin Merrim, who normally plays over on the left mid side. Merrim has been starting recently, and Anderson Julio has been coming off the bench, usually replacing him in a like-for-like swap. But with no Merrim off for international duty as well, I think Anderson Julio gets the start in this one. So keep an eye on the starting lineups as they come out. If Anderson Julio starts, I think he's going to be a very beneficial piece to your lineup. Anderson Julio has 2 goals over the last 3 games, and get this, only 111 minutes played. Also, 4 shots assisted, and 2 crosses in that time. A guy who's a lot pacier than Merrim gives Real Salt Lake a very different look up top, and has a lot of opportunity to cross the ball into the box, get an assist maybe in this one, and he's been a goal scorer recently, so good chance to get a goal as well. 5.7K, it's a relatively cheap price to go ahead and stick someone in your forward spot so you can pay up elsewhere. So I really like Anderson Julio at 5.7K. And now, talking about paying up and talking about Real Salt Lake, we're going to talk about Anderson Julio's teammate, Albert Rusnak, at 9.2K. Now, Albert Rusnak, really lately, what is there not to like from the guy? He's on set pieces, he's on corners, he's on penalties for the team. He really does it all. And also, over the last 5 games, Rusnak has a total of 2 goals, 17 shots assisted, and a whopping 27 crosses. And over the last 5 games, he's averaged almost 15 fantasy points per game. Because of those things, and the fact that I think Real are really going to have a lot of opportunities in this game, FC Dallas is a lower tier team, haven't had a lot of success this year, a lot of draws, a lot of losses. I think Albert Rusnak's got a great chance to get a goal, maybe even an assist in this one. Definitely return value for you, even though he's a little expensive at the 9.2K price. All right. Looking at a slightly cheaper now midfield play is a guy, again, that I'm just going back to the well to, like I always do, Lewis Morgan. He's going to come in at the price of 8.4K this week for Inter Miami, but I love Lewis Morgan as I do pretty much every single week. The guy's going to be helping out on set pieces and corners probably a little more this week, just because Rodolfo Pizarro, who plays attacking midfield for Inter Miami, has been starting lately. He's off on international duty with Mexico. You'll see that's kind of a theme in a lot of different aspects here on this slate. A lot of guys are off for international duty, but Lewis Morgan has 7 to 21 fantasy points with a total of 42 crosses over the last 5 games. A guy who really likes to get up and down the field on the right or left side. Inter Miami use him regularly in the attack, and I think that he's going to be an essential part of them having a fantastic game this weekend. So Lewis Morgan, go ahead and book it at 8.4K. And if we want to look maybe a little bit cheaper, we've got a value midfield play. A guy I really like, it's going to be Alvaro Barreal at 5.8K. It's pretty cheap for a midfielder, especially Barreal, who has been pretty decent, pretty consistent as of late. Barrial's got 1 assist, 8 shots, and 15 crosses over the last 4 games. He's been playing in a right midfield position, getting consistent starts for Cincinnati, and while Cincinnati haven't been super efficient and productive and this goal-scoring juggernaut on the field, he has been getting forward and getting crosses in the box. That's definitely something you want to see from a midfielder, especially a guy this cheaply priced. I think he's got good chances to get forward in this one, and Inter Miami, they've got a great team, been playing really well as of late, but they're not invincible, as we've seen. And so I think Barrial's a pretty good play at 5.8K. Go ahead and stick him in your lineup and pay up elsewhere. Let's go ahead and look at now my favorite defender on this slate, which unfortunately, again, it's going to be the most expensive defender, but I think he's definitely worth it. It's going to be Aaron Herrera. Now, some of you might be coming at me and thinking, well, hold on, he's injured, he didn't play last game, but I was able to talk to Pablo Mastroni, the interim head coach for Real Salt Lake this week, and I asked about Aaron Herrera's injury, and he said, we kept Aaron out this last game because of a hamstring injury. It was really more precautionary than anything else. They were playing on an artificial turf field, and they didn't want to risk further injury to Aaron Herrera. Pablo says that Herrera has looked fantastic this week in practice, been a bright spot, and that he's got a really good chance to come back to the starting 11 this week, and I think that happens. So again, keep your eye on the lineups, but if he's playing in this game, Aaron Herrera at 6.8K is a pretty good price. He got an assist last game that he played and is averaging 5 crosses per game over the last 6 games. Been very steady, very consistent, and he's getting forward really far in the attack. Been up playing more of a left wing or a right wing position as of late, getting a lot of opportunities on the attacking end. That's something we love to see from our defender position. Now, a bit of a cheaper defender that you can also pay down for is a guy we're going to go with named Nkosi Burgess. Nkosi Burgess for FC Dallas. He comes in at a price of 3.8K, which is pretty cheap considering how good he has been lately. Burgess has he's been averaging 9 points per game over the last 6 games, and he's had 2 assists, 1 goal, and 12 passes intercepted over that span. So not only has he been playing in at defense, but he's also been getting forward in the attack. He's got a goal, he's had some assists. This guy's really everywhere on the field, and at a relatively cheap price at 3.8K, why not stick him into your lineup and go ahead and pay up at some of the other guys like Lewis Morgan or Gonzalo Higuain that we've talked about earlier. I'm definitely going to be playing Nkosi Burgess this week, given his price, so go ahead and stick him on into your lineups. That being said, let's look at the goalkeeper position, a guy that I'm pretty confident in for this week. It's going to be Inter Miami's goalkeeper, Nick Marsman, at 4.5K. I was kind of confused when I looked at the goalkeeper position for this slate this week. They had Andrew Putna as the highest priced goalkeeper, and Putna has been not great as of late for Real Salt Lake. So I really like Marsman at 4.5K. I think Miami have a really good chance to really win this game, get a clean sheet, and talk about that a little bit later too. But Marsman has had a win or a clean sheet in each of his last 3 games, and Cincinnati have lost or have been shut out in 6 of their last 7. Just, using the law of averages here, you can see that there's a pretty good chance that Nick Marsman's going to get a win or a clean sheet in this game. FC Cincinnati have been pretty anemic on offense, and I think that Marsman gets the clean sheet, maybe even a win in this one. Definitely returns value for you at a cheaper price of 4.5K. All right, those are the player options that we're going to be looking at this week on the slate. But before we leave you today, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the bets that I really like on the slate this week for these MLS games. Let's go ahead and start off with the Real Salt Lake and FC Dallas game. And in that one, I really like there to be a score and a tie. So it's going to be like a 1-1 or a 2-2 kind of game. I really think that's a good possibility. Real Salt Lake have been a little iffy, especially last game since head coach Freddie Juarez left the team. And FC Dallas in turn have been, back and forth, haven't been fantastic. Been losing a couple games, drawn a couple games. So I think that a score and a tie in this game at plus 340 got a really good chance to happen. RSL was 6 ties this year, and Dallas was 7 ties. So go ahead and place that bet plus 340. Second bet that we're going to look at, probably my favorite bet on this slate, is going to be Inter Miami to win in a shutout at plus 380. And no, I am not crazy, but I think this is pretty good odds for Inter Miami. Cincinnati have only scored 4 goals over the last 7 games, and 4 of those games they played they were shut out in. For Inter Miami, they've kept a clean sheet. Last game against Orlando City, it's a good sign of what I think are things to come in this game. Inter Miami have been playing fantastic lately. I think they've got the defensive players to be able to stop Cincinnati. Cincinnati are missing a couple of guys this week due to injury and international duty, and so I think that this is going to equal a Inter Miami win, likely a shutout as well. Place that bet at plus 380. All right, thank you all for tuning in to the video this week. That is all I have for you. But before you leave, make sure to smash the like button on this video and subscribe to Mayo Media Network. And then don't forget to leave a 5-star review on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Head on over to Twitter. Follow me at Ethan Kershaw 9, where I will be helping you out. Thank you all for your time this week. Really hope you all cash some lineups, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.